Duelists, we're back, and you know, I gave you the lowdown on Spright. Now I got to show you some of that sweet, sweet gameplay. Let's get right into it. All right. On the draw, but we've got the Imperm and the Maxi, so clearly we're going to win. Oh, easy clap. Maxi, solo, Swordsoul. We all know this. So we're going to go for the special summon of the Ashuna. We're going to fire that Maxi. No Asher called by. We're living the dream. That's going to be an Ashuna. Into a Monk. Our hand is already looking pretty freaking stacked, but I'll break that down once we get to our turn. Oh, the hits just keep coming. So they're going to go for Long Wand. Long Wand into the token, into a Barone. Now, luckily, we can play through most of these gates just because we have... They're not going for a Barone. They're going for Sinister Long Wand plus the Burn. Okay, so this is actually much easier to deal with. All right, so first up, Imperm on the Long Wand. They're going to get their Banish off and deal us a little bit of damage. But as long as we negate that, we just can't have them banishing any of our level 2s because then we can't get our special summon. But our hand is, I mean, it's full. It's stacked. Normal summon Nimble Beaver, get the other Nimble. They're going to try and trigger, but they don't read. We can special the Blue. Blue's going to search us the Carrot just because that's the only one we don't have yet. I'll special the Jet. Jet can search us. We already have Smashers, so we could get Starter. Yeah, as our opponent sees, it's going to be easy claps here. But, I mean, so special Jet, search Starter. Starter can get us any other thing if we want. We can special the other ones, go into Gigantic with the 2 Beavers, detach, send something like a Swap Frog. Swap Frog, then we'll send another Swap Frog. We actually don't have... We'd have to find a way to get the Ronin engrave. But, I mean, we had essentially infinite material anyway, so we were chilling, and then we could just use the Smashers at end of turn. And, like I said, easy clap. Maxi, soloing Swordsoul. What else is new? On the draw again, but once again, hand not looking too bad. No interruption on turn 1, but our opponent's going to go for the classic set 3 reveal Lord. It's not a set 4, it's not a set 5, but set 3 is still something we have to contend with. Let's see what we can get. That's the single best draw on our deck. Oh, we can go for a Spright starter. Get ourselves a Blue. Here's Blue. Blue is going to trigger. Get ourselves a Carrot, just because that's the only one we don't have yet. Now they're going to go for the Summon Limit. Now, that is an issue, but we've got the Smashers. We're actually going to activate the Smashers in response to the Summon Limit before it even fully resolves. They've got the Solemn Judgment. Okay, so that does make things more difficult for us. But we can always special the Jet and then search a second Smashers to fire on their turn. Yep, there's the second Smashers. And our opponent's actually going to scoop it up after that. A little premature, I think, from their point, but I don't know what else they had going on. Oh, connection failed. Sure. Connection failed. But yeah, we could have set the Smashers, set both called bys, waited. We would have lost one or potentially both of our Sprights there, but we had 2 in hand, easily normal one, special the other, get off to the races with Gigantic, etc. All right, finally we're on the play, and this hand has no hand traps or anything, but we've got basically everything else we can need. We can normal the Ronin, go into the Blue. Blue's going to find us Red. Once again, we have all the other names. Special Red, Special Carrot, Special Jet. Doing this just so that if they try to negate our activation off the Jet or off the Gigantic, we can negate it with either the Red or the Carrot. Now we can go into Gigantic with the Blue and the Toad. They're going to go for Valor on the Gigantic. We're actually going to negate that, pitching the Jet because we've already used it. Wanted to make sure I had the Toad under the Gigantic so that I could actually send it when I detach. These opponents are really quick to scoop these games. I guess that's what Spright is. People just don't want to deal with it. But yeah, detach the Ronin. And then we have pretty much everything we need. So we'd actually probably search for a Swap Frog. Swap Frog on summon. Could send another Swap Frog. Then we could go into a Elf with the Gigantic and the Frog. Then we'd have 2 Frogs engraved plus Ronin, so we'd be able to get material back as necessary. We could probably go into either an Onibimaru or I don't believe we'd have a way to get back 2 Darks for a Djinn Buster, but probably an Onibimaru, maybe a Skycav, but we'd have, you know, the whole setup, plus we have Smashers in hand as well, in which we could get some banishing on. All right, back on the play. Hand is a little crusty. Normal swap. Don't love to normal swap, but you gotta do what you gotta do. That's gonna get ashed. Okay. All right, well, that's one interruption down. We can still special our Spright Jet and get into Gigantic. All right, we're gonna add a... okay, we're not gonna add anything. They've got the Imperm. That's fine. We can still go into our... Gigantic. Also, I decided not to use Call by the Grave, just because, on the Ash, just because if they had a Maxi or anything else that was going to interrupt one of our more impactful plays. But, alright, so we can get the blue out, add the red. They're going to go Droll. Okay. Luckily, we don't really need to search anything else at this point. We can link those off for a Elf. Elf will just get us back whatever. A blue. Or it won't get us back anything. Okay, so four out of 5 cards were hand traps. I mean, we've got some good interruptions here, but we don't have much going on. We've got a Called by the Grave, a DD Crow, in case they are also on Spright. And then we have a Monster Negate / Destroy if we want to tribute our Elf. Okay, so there's Signet Mining. Pitching Signet Mining. Let's get back... I want to get back one Jet so we can search Smashers for the follow-up play, but also Signet Mining puts them on pretty much exactly Mathmech. And I want to have something to tribute for the red. Don't want to tribute my Elf. Now, here's the thing. Things get a little tricky here, right? Because Circular says you can send a Mathmech monster, except Mathmech Circular, from your deck to your graveyard. Then you can special summon it. Putting the Sigma in. The Sigma can trigger whether you have a Mathmech or no monsters. Well, you have no monsters in the extra monster zone, so that can get it no matter what happens. And they can still also just normal summon the Circular. Also, it doesn't say you can use... or no. And then they can also just still normal summon the Circular and walk over our Elf. So I am going to have to trigger the Elf here, just so that the Circular goes to the grave and they can't use it again next turn. Alright, so there's the red, attributing the Elf, which is unfortunate, but necessary, as I said. They can still go for the Sigma. I think if they try and activate the Sigma, I'll probably DD Crow. Rather save the Called by the Grave for if they draw into another way to get Circular. But they're not going for anything. Okay, so... we're going to go into Gigantic. Gigantic will detach the red so that we can special summon it back with an Elf later. Go for blue. Blue add Jet. Jet special summon. Jet add Starter since we already have the Smashers. Starter will get us another name. Since we're probably going to be getting back the... oh, well, no, we'll just get the red instead. It's fine. We don't need the carrot. Oh, or is the carrot engraved? The carrot's not engraved, but I'm more concerned about Mathmech's monster effect, so I'd rather have the thing. Plus, we can go in now, and this is about as much damage as we're going to be able to do. I remember looking for my extra deck during this game and seeing if I make anything, is it going to be more? No. It's going to put us down to 28. Once again, unfortunately, Spright can't really OTK unless we get that boost on that Gigantic Spright, and our Pixies is not in rotation. That's something you'd want to add as opposed to special summoning. Opponent draws something, they set it, but we've got the Smashers already set, and they're going to scoop it. All right, so a little bit more back and forth of that game. They had literally everything. And honestly, if we didn't have exactly that one negate for the Mathmech Circular, the negate and destroy, they could have easily walked away with that game. So, and I think we played it pretty well. Back in the play, and this is a going second hand if I've ever seen it. We can pitch the Rodent Totem to Specialist Swap Frog, but we're going to get Gamut. Okay, so Gamma's going to come in here, bring Driver. Swap is going to get destroyed, which actually does, even though the effect was negated, does fuel our Rodent Totem. So we can banish that Swap, get the Rodent Totem back out there. That's going to put our Pixies online to Special. Now we can get Giganticing. Gigantic Spright, gonna detach and go ahead and get us a Spright Blue. Spright Blue, of course, is going to add a Jet. Jet's going to special summon. Search for a... What do we search for? A starter. We're feeling a little crazy. Okay, so we're going to go starter now. Grab ourselves out the red. Right, I want the monster negate of the red. Now we can go for the elf. We're going to go for a double monster negate here, right? Bring back the pixies, and then Jet and pixies will go into Djinn Buster. That's another monster negate. And then during their main phase, basically on the first thing they do, I can use Spright Elf to bring back the Spright Blue, which will get us a search as well as give us the ability to monster negate. Opponents on P.U.N.K. Okay, so they're going to activate the P.U.N.K Deer Note, pitching the Sharkusai. With that resolving, I didn't want to negate it just because I think they can do it again. I think it's because it doesn't negate the... it negates the effect, not the activation. So we go blue. They're actually a Monster Reborn. Okay, Monster Reborn into Sharkusai. Sharkusai is going to activate. We'll Djinn Buster that. That one's a hard one per turn. Yeah, you gotta be careful with your negates on some of these things that say, depending on if it's the activation or the effect, because some of them you can just activate multiple times a turn. You can just try and activate it again. Similar to something like that's the way Gamma works as well, actually. They're gonna go into the Jam Dragon Drive. Now, Deer Note's gonna try and summon. Deer Note is going to try to summon itself back, and we are going to negate that effect by attributing the blue. No need to negate with the elf. We don't need to destroy it. It's already in the grave. Jam Dragon Drive is going to beat over our elf, but that's fine. We're kind of chilling. Our Buster's used up, so we can now use that for link material. Special Jet. Jet will search us a Smashers. We're going to need to get rid of some of these things. Now we can go into Elf. Waiting to see what sort of interruptions they have in the back row. I'm going to try and bring back the blue, and they have the Jaruri Punk Nash something. Basically, it's just a destruction spell. We can chain the Smashers, banishing the starter, and actually we can banish our Elf just because it's going to get destroyed anyway, so we might as well get rid of it. Retain our carrot on field, or our red on field. They're going to go Cosmic Cyclone, but MST does not negate, my friend. So we can go Elf. All of their back rows accounted for, so we can actually get that Jam Dragon Drive out of the way. Blue's going to come back, and our opponent with no cards in hand, no cards on the field, and us with a commanding position will scoop it up. All right, back on the draw, and this hand is not bad. Not bad at all. Our opponent's on Libromancers. That's interesting. Okay, so they're going to go for the field spell, adding the Doom Broker. Setting a card, and then utilizing the effect to tribute their Nibiru to get out that that Doom Broker that they tutored for. All right, they're going to set a Libromancer trap directly from their deck. I'm going to guess that other one is probably a Libromancer trap or maybe a quick play. I don't know the archetype too well, but I know they have some negates. As you can see, this is a bounce, but we've got all sorts of good stuff. Let's lead with a Pot of Prosperity just to see if they try to negate or if they have an Ash or anything. They don't. We're chilling. We can go for blue. It's actually looking pretty nice. Let's go straight to battle and evenly. They're going to negate with the Intervention. That's actually going to bounce their Doom Broker back to hand. Negate the evenly. That's fine. That's one interruption as well as the Doom Broker back on field. We can go to main 2, normal to Beaver. They're going to go for the Ash. Okay, so they did have the Ash, but they didn't want to use it for the Pot of Prosperity. That's an interesting take, but now we know that their hand is just Doom Broker, and assuming we can clean up the rest of this, they won't be able to do much. We can special the Jet. They're going to imperm the Jet, so no searching Smashers for us. But we can go into a Gigantic. Gigantic, of course, can get us a Swap Frog. Swap Frog will trigger and send the Ronin Totem. Now we can special the blue. Blue will get us a carrot. We want to make sure that we have the ability to negate. I don't know if you can actually negate the field spell, if that's an activation, or if that's just a thing where you can use that as an additional way to, an additional summoning condition. But other way, they have a back row, so we want to make sure that's out of here. Special back to swap. Swap's going to trigger, send another swap. Now we can activate the Ronin, get the Ronin back out here. And our opponent will scoop. I think, actually, instead of getting the swap, if I had resummoned the Jet from Grave after I linked it off, we might have been able to get that trigger. I believe it's not, you can only activate this, but you can only use it. So since the effect was negated, we can bring it back and then search Smashers again, which would have been a great way to get rid of the field spell. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what we could have done there. But, I mean, we had plenty of material. We could have gone into probably a Masquerena plus, I guess, one negate with the Carrot, or maybe even like a Sky Cav or something like that.